Episode 276 of Bucko Banter. Today we recap Pirates Fest. Andrew McCutchen sounds off on his recent free agent status. We give you news from around the league and some potential free agent and trade targets. You're listening to the Bucko Banter podcast, brought to you by the Just Baseball Media Network. Cue the music.
Rockin' 101, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Or the steak by the plate, sending case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
Welcome back to another episode of Bucko Banter. Adam, welcome back to this. We're recording on a Sunday night. We've got a foot of snow here in Pittsburgh. We're in the middle of Winter Storm Fern, I think they're naming her.
Is that what it's called? Fern?
Fern. Yeah, that's the name. I didn't know they named winter storms, but
I heard Snowmageddon. That's all I heard.
Snowmageddon. Well, we're sheltered in place in the Strip District here, but we had a fun weekend, man. We were at Pirates Fest, and I thought it was a big success this weekend.
Massive. It was one smooth event. Let's get out in front of it. Everything seemed to go right. Everybody was happy, having a great time. We were there Friday night for the VIP family corporate sponsor. We did a lot of interviews Friday night in the media access. And then Saturday, when it was just about everybody, really good vibes, man. Really, really good vibes. We were there all day, did some more interviews, walked around, did some fan content, some giveaways. It was really good.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the tone was definitely different this year. I know it was only one day technically, but last year we had a mini insurrection, and the offseason was a lot different than this offseason, and I thought it was much more positive. I didn't get to sit through most of the discussion with Travis, Ben, and DK, but I know there were some tough questions asked, but not like years past. I thought the overall vibe was more positive than years past.
The responses from Cherington, DK, obviously it was DK's first year as manager sitting on that platform, but Travis as well, a lot more confident. And it was funny because we were like, I bet Travis does the whole period full stop thing. And he went right for it, man. Like him doubling down on it was a confidence I like to see. Now, obviously the word accountability came up. We need to see them back it up. They need to make the playoffs. They need to be ahead in the Central. They need to make the right moves. But it was night and day from last year. I know talk is cheap and you can say so much up there and you can just throw a whole parade about what's going on right now. But when it comes down to it, you have to execute, right? So it was refreshing right now, but spring training is right around the corner and they still need to make some moves.
Yeah, I think there's not going to be a big move unless it's Suarez and that price falls. And I know that was asked. I didn't hear the full answer to the question, but I think there's going to be pieces added to complement what they've done this offseason. It's just not going to be big names. Suarez being the biggest available that I think would be realistic for them to sign. But yeah, man, I had fun, and I'm super grateful that the Pirates, gave us the access that they did, and we got the interviews that we did. I thought we had a lot of good discussion and with the players that were there that were able to make it despite the storm. And I think we talked a lot about the offseason with some guys. We had Jared Jones, Jake Mangum, Andy Rodriguez sat down with us. Most of the guys on Friday night, right? Who else did we have there?
Spencer Horwitz, Isaac Matson, Braxton Ashcraft, Justin Lawrence, Rafael Flores, the Pirate Parrot.
The best interview yet, man. That was
Termar Johnson.
Yeah, and Termar we've talked to a couple times since starting this thing in Altoona and on the pod. So super grateful that they gave us the access that we had. And, we're definitely not beating the allegations, but that's okay, man. I had fun. I really enjoyed this weekend, whether it was interacting with fans that we've gotten to know along the way or having discussions with the players.
Let's talk about one of the specific questions that was asked during the panel to Ben Cherington specifically. And I guess it goes for the entire panel. And it was, are we bringing back Andrew McCutchen? What's going on with that? And if you're somewhat on the internet, you've seen Andrew McCutchen voice his opinion on the matter, how this wouldn't happen to Albert Pujols or Adam Wainwright or Clayton Kershaw or Yadier Molina.
Mickey Cabrera.
Miggy could break. Yeah, look, the list goes on and on, right? He said he could probably name a ton other. Andrew McCutchen is 39 years old. He's been back on 2 one-year contracts since his return in 2023, I believe. So the question is out there, is Andrew McCutchen coming back? And a lot of people are mixed on this. And I'd like to get your opinion. I think I already know your opinion, but it was interesting to be in that room and read the body language of people when they were talking about Andrew McCutchen, specifically the guy in front of me, because the guy in front of me really, really, really wanted Andrew McCutchen back. And I think a lot of people had that nostalgia. They remember 2013. They remember Andrew McCutchen being the best player they've seen since the 70s, or Clement to don the black and gold. When the question was asked, and I'll read the quote, Ben Cherington said, Andrew has meant a ton to the team. He's had an incredible run 2 different times. Certainly his legacy as a Pirate is secure. Everybody with the Pirates, it's our desire to maintain a really good relationship with Andrew well into the future. Then we come back to our team. What is the job? The job is to build a team that gives us the best chance to win games when you're at the ballpark in June and July. Our approach this offseason has been laser focused on what gives us the best chance to win more baseball games in Pittsburgh than we have in the past seasons. That's going to continue to guide our decisions.
Which I thought, hey, everything aside, I thought it was a pretty good answer.
Oh, it's a great answer. I think
I thought they'd skirt around
saying it, but let's be real. They're trying to win a winning baseball team, and for once, they're not just doing what they think is going to look good just by bringing him back, just to bring him back.
I anticipated more skirting around that topic from whoever was asked the question. And, we know Kutch sells tickets. We know Kutch there's a lot of nostalgia there. I just want to put out there, Kutch is the best Pirate of my lifetime. And it's not even close. Not even close. So no disrespect to Kutch. I love the answer that they are going to do whatever is best for the team and whatever brings wins and helps us get to the playoffs. And that's no disrespect to Kutch at all. But they need to make the best decision for the Pittsburgh Pirates, the 2026 Pirates, in order to win the most games possible. And if Kutch gets you there, then bring him back. But if they don't think he does based on whatever they're looking at, it's time to move on. And that's going to be a harsh reality to settle in for most people, especially people that have been around and hanging on to those 2013, 2014 seasons. But yeah, it's been an interesting couple weeks, especially seeing him online and seeing he's clearly
upset,
unhappy and disappointed. And I get it, but because I do
the situation better though, man. Like you're Andrew McCutchen. You're going to have a statue outside of the stadium one day.
100%.
It's going to happen, right?
100%.
This needs to be done in a better manner, because if he does come back, it's awkward. It's weird.
Extremely. And I do, let me just put this out there. I do see a scenario like if a certain chips fall a certain way, I do see a scenario where they're like, okay, he's the best right-handed slug option out there. And it makes a ton of sense. It's convenient. Let's bring him back. But, I think it's starting to trend the opposite direction. And I've said on previous episodes, I'd love to see a rotating cast of DH guys. Kutch is not going to play the outfield more than a couple of days a week. Not saying that he can't, because we saw it last year. There was times where he was the best outfielder on this team. The bar was low, but he can still play outfield. And I do believe that Kutch can be, above a replacement level player in this league right now in his, latter half of his
season. Yeah.
39-year-old season. And that's impressive. But if he's not the best option for this team, I think it's refreshing to see the front office acknowledge that.
Yeah, I think the conversation at this point specifically is weird, because if you made another big move other than Lau, O'Hearn, the password to this point, right? Say you already brought in Eugenio Suarez, or you brought in a big right-handed bat. I think the conversation's a little bit different. I think the crowd shifts to like, yeah, maybe we really don't need the Andrew McCutchen back, right? Like, we had a good run here. They've done actually everything and more that's best for this team, and that's just not at the top of the list right now. But now that we've gotten to this weird point where Pirates Fest and people are getting excited about baseball, he's talking on Twitter, and they haven't made that one more move, right? Everybody keeps saying they're one more move, one more bat away. Well, Andrew McCutchen's now part of that conversation because of where we're at in the offseason. And you're put in a weird spot where, like, yeah, there is a Eugenio Suarez out there, but there's also an Andrew McCutchen for a lot cheaper. And the chances of them getting Suarez right now don't seem to fall in their favor just because of a price point. Now, maybe the market's lowering a little bit, and we could talk about that a little bit more at the end of this episode. I don't want to beat a dead horse on Eugenio Suarez. I think we already know what it is. But it's just we're at a middle ground between everything good that they've done in spring training starting in a couple of weeks with pitchers and catchers reporting. And if they sign Andrew McCutchen, like you mentioned later on, I think that's the right move if there's nothing else available. But right now, there could be better moves out there, although small.
And they're weighing those options.
Exactly.
And that's important. I think you know what's even more awkward than bringing him in at this point because of everything that's gone on in the discussion is bringing him in and then saying, we have a roster decision to make midseason and cutting him. I think that's that could be an even weirder situation. Right now, there's an argument to be made if Justinson Garcia is not ready to bring in another outfielder or to bring in a utility guy that can play outfield and be your fourth outfielder. And I'll bring up an option later on in this episode, but Kutch is not going to be that fourth outfielder. I think he could play there once a week. And I'm not doubting his abilities in the outfield, especially playing right field, but you're probably going to look at him more as a DH, and you got that rotating cast already. You got Ryan O'Hearn, who's slated as your opening day DH at this point. You've got Brandon Lau, who could play there, and put Nicky G at second base to spell him some days in the field. You've got other guys that can play DH. I think they're in a good spot right now, and I think Pirates fans should be optimistic that they're weighing their options. I think that's the big thing. And I know that's a hard pill to swallow, but there are other options out there that I think that could make this team even better, and they're looking at them.
Yeah, they're definitely looking, and I think there is still ample time to make this roster better. And does Andrew McCutchen, if you add him right now, make it better? Technically, yes, but we're looking beyond that right now, and that's the attitude you should be taking. We shouldn't be just accepting Andrew back with open arms just because. You should be on a Major League Baseball team because it fits the roster and it's the best thing to do to win, not because you want to see it go one more time. Yep. And again, I would love to give him the proper goodbye tour. I think he deserves that. He absolutely does. But do you value that more than winning? Do you value that trying to piece together a team finally that can do something? Weigh your options. Like, it's not always, the grass isn't always greener, right? Like, you can't always.
I guess my whole struggle of understanding here is the same people that are complaining that we're not doing enough this offseason are the same people that are like, let's bring Kutch back. I love Kutch as much as all those people, but there are better upgrades out there that could make this roster.
It just can't be your priority. Right now, because of Pirates Fest and everybody's hyped, and you get to be the one that asks the question to Ben or Travis or DK. And of course, with him voicing his own opinion as well, it's topical. It's out there right now. Yep. I honestly thought when they said we have a surprise guest because some guys couldn't make it, that they were about to announce it live on stage.
Yeah, me too.
And it was just Ryan O'Hearn on Zoom.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God, here we go. Could you imagine the roar? And that would have been great too. But what I gathered from Pirates Fest, at least from the short sample size of what we heard from the front office, is they're doing everything that they can right now at the moment going into spring training to weigh their options, like you said. And that's the right move. So continue doing that until you can go no further. Then look at your roster. Do we have space for Andrew McCutchen to contribute to this team? Not just to ride the bench, not just to be there. Can he contribute to the 26 guys on the team on opening day?
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
Man. There is a real scenario, and this is the last thing I'll say about Kutch, but there is a real scenario where you go into March. I hope this doesn't happen, obviously, for many reasons, but there is a scenario where you get injuries and you have decisions to make where you need another bat and Kutch is there. Like, that's probably what's going to happen if he comes back. That's probably going to be the scenario where Kutch is a Pirate again this year, is if you need a bat last minute and he's still available. which he probably will be.
Last takeaway from Pirates Fest, and we can move on to some more pressing matters. Jake Mangum's going to be a fan favorite.
Oh my God. Absolutely.
People are already calling him the mayor of Pittsburgh. Like he was pumped to see us. We had him again on the pod. We're excited to release that schedule. Maybe we'll talk about that schedule at the end of this episode, but what a guy. Like the energy is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And you saw it in the video the Pirates posted of him like walking around talking to fans in the autograph room and also asking for his teammates' autographs. Like this guy is going to be loved by the city of Pittsburgh. It's pretty obvious. And he's pretty pumped. One thing he said, and you'll hear it on our episode released tomorrow, that he hears about Pittsburgh being this top 3 sports town in the country and everyone wearing the black and gold. And he's just super excited to be a part of that. You believe it when he says it. Like he's actually really excited to be here, and we're pumped to have him for sure.
Let's talk about what's happening around the league real quick. Washington makes a massive trade with Texas, sending Mackenzie Gore for a ton of prospects. If you're a Nationals fan, maybe not right now, but there is a reason to be excited there in the future. And look who's running the show, Justin Horowitz. He knows what he's doing, man. He can recruit. He knows a lot of young prospects. I think he's going to be able to put together a really good team over there. Freddie Peralta is out of the Central. That doesn't mean the Brewers got worse, because
they're probably just as good.
Jet Williams. Jet Williams is a Brewer, man. Like, watch the way that guy plays. Like,
also
written all over him.
Also, Brandon Sproat. You're going to hear his name very quickly in the NL Central as a top rotation arm. I'm not saying he's going to be Freddie Peralta, but they got Jacob Mizrowski. It's next man up mentality with the Brewers always, and Brandon Sproat is a promising arm in this league.
Last one where we heard the Pirates did have some interest in a name that we've talked about, and we confirmed that they were talking with his camp, at least near the winter meetings, was Sir Anthony Dominguez. Made a lot of sense for a bullpen arm. Signs with the White Sox for 2 years, $20 million, Scott.
Pretty big contract there. Yeah, I was surprised by that number. And my initial thoughts were, the Pirates were not going to go to that number. They may have been. And we'll hear more from Alex Stumpf this week. We got Alex Stumpf joining us for the Alex Stumpf show, so we can talk more about that. But food for thought, there could be another reliever in the mix here soon. We'll see.
So where do we go from here? Eugenio Suarez is still out there. Is his market dropping? I think he's going to hold out just for whatever the best option is. The Pirates are going to hang around, as we like to say, but let's stop talking about Eugenio Suarez. I can't stand it anymore. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And I think it's not going to happen. If it does, I'll be really happy. I think it's going to happen in the trade market. And Ben Cherington brought it up, how they're on the phone with teams every single day trying to work out best options. Why not call your old friend in Toronto? You have a couple of options there. Addison Barger,
who I think they're less inclined to trade, but I'm willing to hear you out here.
And Ernie Clement.
Ooh.
And I know Ernie Clement, it's more bat to ball. And listen, best playoff bat. I think he set the record for hits in the playoffs recently last year. Both can play third base. Addison can play a little bit more all over the field, has a crazy arm. Both have control. I think that infield's a little bit could be logjam at some point, depending on what they do. You have Okamoto over there, and then obviously Barger, Clement. Who's playing second base right now? It's
Schneider.
Okay, so you have Addison Barger, Ernie Clement, Andres Jimenez, Vladimir Guerrero, Leo Jimenez, Kazuma Okamoto. They might be inclined to move one of those names. I think, like you mentioned, Addison's going to be a little bit harder of a move. But if we're only going to be able to make a move on the left side of the infield via trade, I think Clement and Barger are potentially two options that you might want to look into.
Interesting. You know what? Clement's a name that really intrigues me. I think you need to have a diverse lineup. They've added some pop, and I know Mangum's a guy that provides more bat to ball, but Clement is another guy that you could add to this mix that could hit for high average and provide some interesting contact skills to this lineup. I thought you were going to go with David Schneider, because that's a name that someone floated out there to me recently. I think at FanFest, someone brought that name up to me. I was like, interesting. I wonder what that would take, because I don't think
guy.
Love the guy, man. He's a great personality. Would be another great addition to the clubhouse. I heard Ernie Clement, similar type of personality. So, you got some options there in Toronto. I love this as a trade partner, almost more than I like them as definitely more than I like them as a trade partner with the Mets at this juncture. I think I'd take those guys over Vientos or Beatty.
Yeah, that's the only other options. Vientos, you're betting on him getting back to 2 years ago in that right-handed pop. The glove's obviously not great, but he could play both corners. The other option was Beatty, but it looks like the Mets are going to hold on to him unless they get a really good return. Here's another thing I think I mentioned early on in the offseason. Maybe call the evil empire here, Scott. Call the Dodgers, see what they want for Alex Freeland.
Ooh, okay.
One of their top prospects. He's 24 years old. He plays the left side of the infield. He's a left-handed bat, so I know you're looking for right-handed power, but young, promising prospect. Not sure what type of playing time he's going to get in LA unless it's at third base. What they're going to do with Muncy. They also have Kike Hernandez out there, who I think obviously they're going to find a way to bring him back. Just a glue guy. And if you look at the postseason stats, he seems like you can never get rid of him when it comes to October. But I think I would be interested to see what they want for Alex Freeland, because that matches what the Pirates usually like to get is a young prospect with control, 24 years old, a lot of promise there.
Projection. Yeah, absolutely. I like those names a lot, especially the Toronto names, Adam. I think that's really interesting. I'm definitely going to dive into those more a little bit later, but some names I want to bring up too. I was just looking at the remaining free agents, not going to focus on pitchers today, mostly bats. If you're looking at catcher, and at this point, I'd bet against them making a change at catcher, but the guys available right now via free agency: Reese McGuire, familiar name; Elias Diaz, familiar name; Luke Maile, familiar name; Christian Vasquez, Mitch Garver, Gary Sanchez, Jonah Heim. Jonah Heim's interesting as a bigger catcher. But outfield, you got Mike Tauchman, who we've talked about a lot. I don't think he'd cost a lot. Austin Hayes, Miguel Andujar, reunion with Starling Marte as a vet would be interesting. One name I want to talk about as a free agent option to fill in as a super utility guy and also as a third base option as well. And I know this is going to sound super underwhelming to a lot of fans, but hear me out. Luis Rengifo from the Angels, switch hitter, had a big breakout season in 2023, plays everywhere, all three outfield positions, all over the infield. I mean, this is a guy who's not necessarily he doesn't have like the best glove, but that value is driven mostly from his versatility. And he's a switch hitter who has speed and contact ability. He has a little bit of pop. I think it's 16 home runs in 2023. The splits are interesting. I think it was against right-handed pitchers, he hit more homers, but again, and historically too, and against left-handed pitchers from the right side of the plate, he has a higher OPS. 2023 had over 900 OPS against left-handed pitchers. So interesting splits there, and I think he could be a guy that you could plug in anywhere, kind of a better Adam Frazier, if you will.
Okay, because if you're going to say Adam Frazier, people are going to come for you. I've already been on that.
No, side. I know. And people will still come for me for Luis Rengifo because the last 2 years, he hasn't been super healthy and been kind of disappointing. I think last year he hit 238 with 9 homers. Not the worst season, especially compared to this past Pirates team. But I think he'd be an interesting flyer that would not cost a lot.
Yeah. Well, speaking of not being healthy, Yohan Moncada, who was a name that you've been crucified for.
Everyone's saying we. I'm like, we. Me, myself, and I.
1 year, $4 million to go to the.
That's about what we thought. Yeah.
So right around, almost, I think exactly.
It's what we said, between I think 3 to 5 million, and I had heard that the Pirates were on him early, then cooled off because there was other names that they were higher on, or that were higher up on their board in terms of third base options. So that made me think Suarez, and then Stump comes in and ruins everyone's hopes and dreams, and
always
the rest is history. So
we know they did not make an offer to Moncada.
No, they did not.
Okay. Yeah. The only other options I have out there are going to be underwhelming. I like Brent Suter as a bullpen arm. I also love him
lefty,
as a clubhouse guy.
Great clubhouse guy. But are they going to add another lefty to that bullpen?
I know. And then Tommy Kahnle.
Oh, I just want him for our on-field interviews. Yeah. Guy's an animal.
Love it. Well, Scott, we have a huge week ahead of us. a massive week. I'm going to read through the schedule real quick. Obviously, this episode will be out pretty much immediately today, at least on YouTube. But Monday at 5 o'clock, you're going to get a Jared Jones, Jake Mangum, and Andy Rodriguez episode. A 3-in-1, 3 interviews, 1 episode. On Tuesday, you're going to get Spencer Horwitz, Rafael Flores, and Isaac Matson interviews in 1 episode. On Wednesday, you're going to get Braxton Ashcraft, Tamar Johnson, and Justin Lawrence in 1 episode. I'm telling you, we have a ton of content.
Yeah, I'm excited for the Pirates Fist content to get out there. Just FYI, we got these guys at like 5-minute increments, so we put 3 together across 3 episodes. So hope you enjoy them. A lot of similar questions. We talked about the offseason. We talked about the season ahead, the excitement around the team. So had a lot of good discussions, especially with guys like
favorite one you had. I have a favorite one, and it was by far the most surprising one. I think you might have to agree with me here.
I know what you're going to say, so I'm going to go a different one. I'm going to go Jared Jones because the Spirits, he was the first guy we talked to. The Spirits seemed high. He seemed excited to be around. He seems excited to get back on the mound, and it's just good to see him back, man. It's really good. Having a season without Jared Jones kind of sucked. You know, the energy he brings to that rotation.
Braxton Ashcraft.
Dude, unreal interview.
Did not expect that. And we like Braxton. We've talked to him in the past, but didn't know what to expect out of it. I mean, he confirmed like, hey, I'm working as a starting pitcher. Like, that's where I want to be. Definitely give that one a listen because he dives deep. Like, he gave some really well thought out, well responded answers. It was incredible.
There's a lot of questions we wanted to ask him, but we couldn't get to all of them due to timing constraints. But he gave out some really well thought out answers, and I'm excited to see Braxton get back. And he threw a career high in innings last year, and to see him in the rotation this year, I think he's a guy that is on everyone's radar as a breakout this season across the league.
Really fun weekend, man. Really, really fun weekend. If you don't already, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend to tell a friend. If you don't already, go to the website, buckobanter.com. That email pop-up is going to come up. Put your email on there. Go to your email, opt in. Once you get it, you'll get our weekly newsletter that recaps everything, gives you a little insight, some background information. Might be having some cool YouTube stuff happening, but really appreciate all the support. Can't wait for all the content to come out this week. And until next time, raise it.
Raise it.
Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates or the